Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
This is Surviving Sister Wives.
What are you doing? What did you just do?
I wanted to throw people off a little bit.
Throwing me? Oh, you threw me off, so I didn't like that. I didn't like that right out the gate.
Well, I'll fix it. Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and we're back with the Sister Wives Tell-All One-on-One Part 2.
Part 2. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think that episode 1 of the one-on-one last week was better than episode 1 of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion that happened this past week.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you.
If we're going to go toe-to-toe, there's not a lot of seasons you can say that about.
No.
That Sister Wives had a better tell-all opener than Real Housewives of Salt Lake City?
Let's give a round of applause
to
impressed.
Sukanya. I'm impressed.
Who put in the work. And I feel like this is a pretty good tell-all as far as getting information that we didn't get during the season.
And actually, Dr. Adam did a really good interview with Sukanya as well. So if you haven't caught that, make sure you go check out the Sister Wives Professor podcast.
Get a little inside info from Suki herself on what it's like to film these tell-alls.
The interview process and what she has to go through and the questions that she can and cannot ask to a little bit of an extent there.
Yeah, I feel like they shouldn't call this a tell-all then. If you can't tell all, then call it something different.
Okay, and I've already stated that I don't like the one-on-one naming either because Christine's bringing David, Meri's bringing Jen, so what is this now? It's not one-on-one anymore.
2 girls, 1 couch.
No, we have to be careful. We have to be careful with the naming.
Just call it a reunion. It's not even a reunion because they're not getting back together.
They're not reuniting.
It's really hard to name this thing.
We're going to have to do...
Look back.
Look back. They tried that.
Look back in lies.
They tried that with the off-season right before Christine's wedding, the look back and the talk backs. So is this a talk back? Because everybody's just kind of saying their own version of things that happened, but that doesn't align with anybody else's stories here.
Unreliable narrators.
Unreliable narrators.
Part 2. Well, before we get into it, though, we do have some news that has happened. The first one's a sad update. This is about Christine's dad, Rex, who unfortunately passed away.
And you may recognize Rex from the Christine and David wedding special. Like, he's popped up on a few different episodes, probably helping somebody move at some point, because that's everybody's fate in this family. In some way, shape, or form, you help in a move.
I feel bad for Christine. She seemed like she was especially close to her dad, and that, you know, in a life where she really couldn't rely on a lot of men, that he was someone who was there for her. So, R.I.P. Rex.
R.I.P. Rex.
I'm glad that he can rest easy knowing that she is no longer married to Kody Brown.
I think that was the big sigh of relief, mostly as part of that ceremony, because they cut to that at the wedding special where it was like the boat tour that they were doing, the little booze cruise. And so she was hugging him and he was telling her how thankful he was that she found someone who loves her like Kody should have loved her.
And then Mindy, a name we haven't heard in a very long time. She decided she needed to get online and start
defending
Robyn? Trying to
defending her honor.
The origin of the reason they had a nanny, which was like, I don't know, 3-4 seasons ago, that was a topic. Why are we still talking about it?
Did she just watch the tell-all from 3 seasons ago? Is she like mixing up? She searched Sister Wives one-on-one, and then that was what came up was the very first one that Suki hosted?
Yeah. I was trying to think, like, there was nothing that was said in last week's tell-all that makes it seem like she would have to clap back.
That was the interesting part, right? Was where it was like, you are defending Robyn's use of the nanny when no one has brought that up. That was not a topic of conversation. None of that was, it was all Coyote Pass last week.
Yeah.
Nothing about a nanny, nothing about allocation of resources or any other accusations flying around in that direction. But Mindy wanted to pop off on this.
I think first of all, it was pretty long. But the summation of it is that she's trying to defend the fact that she was working as a nanny for Kody and Robyn, that TLC and production had kind of put the family in a situation where they needed an extra caregiver to be able to have the time to film for the show. And so she was that solution. But also, she wasn't comfortable watching kids beyond just Robyn's kids.
Well, also, her salary was subsidized by TLC. So Robyn and Kody were only paying basically a part-time rate, and they wanted her to go to full-time because she had asked for full-time, probably because she was working full-time to watch these kids.
I don't think they really were very respectful of boundaries.
Probably not. There was a lot of
her time.
loosey-goosey stuff there. But so that was all the stuff based on what she was saying. The other interesting part was she didn't really volunteer to watch the other wives' kids very often or at all because there would be differences in parenting opinions, and they didn't want to get into the nitty-gritty details as far as who's allowed to do what and who she would be having to answer to, essentially, for some of these interactions that she'd be having with the kids.
Yeah, I think the thing that was most telling was her trying to defend her salary. And it's like, so once again, what you're saying, I know this isn't what she's trying to say, but what I'm hearing from you, Mindy, is that Robyn sucked up the whole resource that came from TLC that was supposed to be able to provide the family with a caregiver. So she took that resource for herself and then wouldn't share it with anybody else.
I mean, it sounds bad when you say it like that. But I think for me, the other standout thing is like, oh, well, that's the whole point that Christine had brought up too, was that Robyn doesn't trust us with her kids.
Yeah.
Because normally, like at that point, if you were filming for something or you needed to leave kids at another house or something, you could have those opportunities where it's Christine would have Janelle watch her kids or vice versa. And that's kind of the way that they were going about this.
She also tried to say there are other nannies out there who can speak their truth if and when they decide that it's their time, because she's claiming that the other family members also had somebody who came in and helped them. But if that's true, then why wouldn't Robyn have said, why are they even questioning why I have a nanny? They've also had nannies.
Yeah, maybe not to the same extent. If she's referring to like Christine having Annie move into the cul-de-sac with her. I kind of
think that's what she means.
I think that's what she means. And then at that point, it was basically Annie was coming in as a referee between Christine and Kody's marriage at that time, which was pretty much on the fritz. Christine has confirmed that in her memoir. I almost called it a novel, but no, it's not made up. It's a real story.
Well, some people probably would allege that it is.
Some stuff maybe.
Okay, I felt like my mind was blown watching this episode because I was so confused trying to unravel the two different narratives that are at play.
There's a few narratives, I think, that we're facing here. So if we're picking back up where we left off last week, we were kind of Suki was trying to pin down, what was this? This was like a confidentiality agreement? Was this an NDA? Like, is there a difference? What does this mean? Because Meri's kind of alluding to they were trying to hush me through this process here.
I still don't think we got clarity on exactly what they were trying to silence her on.
Jen had to clarify there was like, it's a confidentiality clause. So it wasn't like a totally separate NDA on its own. So I don't know if that was like reintroducing something to the documentation that was already in circulation of other people had signed it.
So I think that this is what happened. There's two different things at play. There's the clause that says Meri couldn't talk about it. So she can't talk in depth about the sale of Coyote Pass, and then can't talk, it sounds like, about her house in Vegas and the profits from that, and the fact that Kody and Robyn aren't going to pay her back for that.
It's just a weird set of things to draw a line in the sand to say, you cannot speak on this stuff. It doesn't seem that salacious, I suppose.
It's something that we would all be interested in hearing about.
Well, of course we would be interested in hearing about it. And I don't know why this isn't something that's brought on the show either, because it seems like they are in a more amicable place now where Kody's basically talking about how they're still working through this, because pretty much the other reason for the confidentiality agreement that was being proposed was, well, we can't get this sorted out right now. We don't want to fight about it, but we don't want to gum up the works of this other deal. We're trying to sell Coyote Pass as one collective unit here. So let's focus on that. We'll sort this other stuff out later, but like, don't disclose the details of those arrangements that we, or the agreements that we land on.
Which they kind of are doing, because we find out they all signed the NDA or whatever it was, this confidentiality clause. Eventually, they got it to a point where they were all comfortable with what it said and they all signed it. But they're here today talking about things that they shouldn't be.
Right. That was the weird part, was that Meri was like, well, yeah, I signed it. And Janelle said, yeah, I signed it. We weren't going to talk about it, but I guess we're going to talk about it. So if they're all signing this confidentiality agreement and then they're all breaking it on the first tell-all that they're going to right after, what was the fucking point? What's the point of that? What are you doing?
Another Kody idea that just completely implodes.
Is it a Kody idea or is it a Robyn idea? Because it seemed like it was kind of driven by Kody signed the original agreement that did not have the confidentiality portion at all. He signed that very quickly. Meri and Janelle signed. And then Kody realized, I think I just kind of gave this away without really bargaining on anything. So I need Robyn now to refuse to sign. Just don't go sign this document now. You're going to need to hold out until Meri signs this other thing instead.
That was a bombshell, in my opinion, to find out that Kody's the one who told Robyn, don't sign this document. Because Robyn's been framing it as though she refused to sign because it wasn't fair.
And she was the hero who had to hold out for truth and justice in the group and make sure that Meri got her fair shake. I'm not going to let this deal go through. I'm going to be the big rock that's just sitting there in the middle of this contract. You won't be able to sign it.
But instead, it sounds like she's just a bargaining chip.
Well, yeah, like for that part of it. And it's just, I don't know if Kody was like, here, why don't you just go draft up whatever you want that confidentiality agreement to be? I trust your judgment on it, Robyn. And so she ran that through ChatGPT and was like, what?
Robyn did not do that on her own.
You don't think she crafted that?
No, I laughed later when Robyn threatened that she would go get an attorney so that she could sue Kody and Janelle. First of all, I don't believe that ever happened. And if it ever would happen, she would not be able to figure out how to hire an attorney.
By dragging you through a painful litigation process. No. This cannot happen.
The reason they're fighting about all this, though, is because when Meri sold her house in Vegas, all of the money from that went into paying the down payment for the SheRah Chateau, which they recently sold. And they doubled their money
for a profit. Yeah, there was a significant increase in equity from Robyn's house, the SheRah Chateau, the original.
So Meri said, pay me back, please.
Money, please. So, yeah, I would like a return on my investment in this process. But then Kody has to say, that was a gift. Those were gifts from Janelle and Meri to Robyn and Kody.
Kody was very clearly informed by an attorney that when he showed up here today and there were cameras in his face, he should make sure that he says that money was a gift.
Say gift every time you mention that money. Any money coming from Janelle or Meri, that was a gift to Kody and Robyn.
Which is bullshit, because that's not the way things worked in this family. It was, we pool our money collectively and you'll get your money back somehow at some point. So there was never a gift where they didn't think that they would be getting that money back.
Well, and it wasn't a gift in the sense of, well, that's what Meri's trying to walk back to. She referred to it as a loan. Mm-hmm. I loaned them. And it's like, well, did you have repayment details that were listed out of like what that process would look like or what the terms were or anything like that? That's why it doesn't really look like a loan, Meri, because it didn't go through those sorts of conditions that you had attached to that. It looks like you just gave them money.
Yeah. All of the OGs really made a mistake in not making sure that they did things in a legal way that they would have recourse for. There was too much trust. For as much as they all say they don't trust each other and like they haven't for a very long time, They definitely were overly trusting with their finances.
So here's the caveat to that. I don't think they did trust each other. I think they were all negligent in their own business transactions that took place within this family to different levels, varying degrees of irresponsibility.
And now they're getting screwed in the end.
Yeah, go figure. Yeah, because if you don't have this stuff listed out, this is, day one stuff that you learn from watching Judge Judy.
It's true. Much. Where's the receipt?
If it's not in the terms.
Receipts, proof, timelines,
screenshots,
everything.
Yeah, you need to have this listed out of what was discussed, put it in writing, and have everybody sign it. So then that way we're all in agreement on what has taken place here.
So I think Kody signed the retitling paperwork in January. At some point after that, Meri brought up wanting to be paid back for the money that came from the sale of the SheRah Chateau.
So then Kody's pulling his collar going, uh-oh.
Now he's really regretting having signed that. But luckily, Robyn's been dragging her feet because she didn't want to sell Coyote Pass.
I couldn't find my pen.
She had to order a new custom pen from Etsy. She got one that matches for her dolly so they can both show up at the attorney's office together.
Well, I'm sure that at least one of her dollies is, what is it?
She's a notary.
She's a notary.
Public notary.
Yeah, so she can witness this and attest to the validity of the documentation.
She had to get on the dolly schedule.
And the signature here. Yeah, it's very tough, but you got to work around the dolly schedule.
And then Kody said, you don't sign that. Hold on. We're working through the details. The things that you don't need to be worried about, my shy, pretty wife.
Don't you worry your neck over this. You can go ahead and just forget about it. Yeah, don't look at this. Don't look into the details or anything either, too. Just don't sign that paperwork until we can twist the screws on Meri and make sure that we get a little something out of this so that way she can stay on the hush-hush, keep this on the down low.
Yeah, I just don't believe Robyn's version of events that she's carefully reading through legal contracts to find the loopholes and see how Kody's trying to screw people. I feel like this is a Teresa Giudice situation where paper gets pushed her direction across the desk and she just signs it.
Between that and then, yeah, for her to be like, oh, I had Meri's best interest at heart. It was not for me. The only reason I was involved in this deal and refusing to sign the things that I was refusing to sign was because I wanted to make sure that Meri was treated fairly.
But also, I didn't think that Meri deserved 100% of the money from her sale of her house in Vegas.
Because Kody paid insurance and stuff or something. We take to Robyn's testimony, who is obviously the most experienced person in the Brown family for paying bills. Clearly, we know that from the history of the show.
How has she simultaneously stayed out of everybody's marriages, but then she knows everybody's financial situation?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. How did you figure that out? Oh, well, Kody told me afterwards. That doesn't make any sense, because then that's what Meri's saying too. I paid the mortgage every month. I was the one who was making those payments. That was coming out of my bank account. So,
which also, by the way, Robyn, since you don't understand how this works, when you purchase home insurance, you typically pay that as part of your mortgage payment.
It's on the mortgage payment. Yeah. So you wouldn't understand that because you just set your bills on the counter and then they disappear overnight and Janelle, the bill fairy, pays them for you. But shocker. Yeah, there are some other things that you could kind of determine through that. So what you're talking about, if you're talking about other insurance, because at that point they were talking about how they would split up everybody pays what they could pay. And so if that meant Meri pays Janelle's phone bill or something, whatever it is.
It was giving 17-year-old where it's well, I pay my car insurance.
I pay for the gas.
I'm an adult now.
I can make my own decisions now. I'm financially independent.
It's the only bill I pay. But I do it.
I have no other concept of the other bills that are being paid as part of this too, or things that I'm just completely ignoring. But
so the big debate was over whether or not Meri deserved 100% of the funds from the sale of her house in Vegas, or if Kody is entitled to 50% of it because his name was on the house.
And then also Robyn and Kody were trying to make it seem like, Oh, Meri was really putting up a fight about this, and she was very combative and very definitive on she deserves 100% of the proceeds from her house. She needs to be reimbursed on that. And then Meri, when she talks about it, she's like, well, I mean, I said that initially. And then Kody's response was, well, it should be 50% because my name was on it. And Meri was like, well, I think that's kind of shitty.
I'll do it though.
Whatever at this point.
She's a pushover.
And so she just went with that. So it doesn't really seem like it was this long, drawn-out legal battle that, you know, Kody and Robyn are attesting to.
I think every time an attorney emailed Kody and Robyn, they acted like Meri was the one who wrote the email.
They all took 10 psychic damage from that. Every time I open my email and there's another thing. Well, no, because they wouldn't even be getting them directly because it would be their lawyer. Their lawyer would be emailing them and saying, hey, here's an update, because it's just the lawyers talk. Well, the liars talking now. And so this is just so over the top as far as like the emotional damage that's been claimed here by Robyn and Kody throughout this process.
They're fighting over $127,000.
Which I mean,
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, that ain't nothing to sneeze at.
But given the amount of money Kody and Robyn made on selling the house, why are you making such a big deal out of that?
I'll tell you why. Because they already had that money earmarked for the SheRah Chateau. So they
already bought some statues.
They already
dolls,
paid for some stuff.
Some jewelry, some Dior bags.
Oh, definitely. And then like they're already rolling that money into, they saw all of those numbers. They've already spent that. It didn't even exist yet. Yeah. It hadn't hit their bank account. It's gone.
It's earmarked for Aurora's wedding.
You could save a little bit for that. I mean, they don't know how to save though. They're spending, no. People. They spend. They keep the economy going. That's what they're doing.
I think they should have just given her 100% of the money back.
I mean,
all of the other stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
There's no way anybody is going to be like financially made even or whole.
Yeah.
Although they're saying Janelle was made whole.
That I don't understand at all. So unless that was, I originally theorized, was that the RV where she was?
The RV is not worth the amount of money that they owe her.
I don't know how much she decked that thing out. And then also, well, I mean, because I'm talking, they could start at like $75,000 for an RV.
Oh, they're very expensive, but yeah. I don't think that that's anything in comparison to the amount of money that Janelle has lost through this family.
I get what you're saying. Because I mean, if you even just count her 401k that they cashed out to start My Sister Wives Closet, how far back do you want to go for starting the receipts as far as the amount of money that Janelle is owed plus interest? Yeah, you're talking substantial losses here, exponential growth.
I know one of the theories that started after Garrison's house had been sold was that maybe Janelle was given the profits from that, and then they agreed that they were good, which I think may have actually happened here.
That's the grossest thing to think about, too.
It is.
For Kody to basically say, oh, I'll let you keep 100% of those proceeds, Janelle, from Garrison's house sale. I don't think you had anything to do with that. So if that's what he's going to try to say, like,
why would he think he's entitled to anything from that?
Yeah, your name wasn't on that. And you're not involved in that. So unless he like helped with a down payment or something, you know, like
it's a gift.
It's a gift.
I'm sorry, that's been made clear.
Right? Hey, I thought that was a gift.
When you help somebody with a down payment on their home, it's a gift and they're never getting that money back. In this family,
that's a gift and you can kiss it goodbye. So maybe that's what that was as far as Kody's interpretation of, oh, this was my contribution, but I'll let that go. So you need to let all this other stuff go.
Because this stuff's all happening around the same time. Garrison's house was sold in December, so the end of 2024.
Right.
And then
this is the following
they signed
month.
the retitling paperwork the next month in January
25.
And then we have Meri talking about trying to get paid back for her money from the Vegas house.
Yes.
So Janelle was probably having the same conversation as well. And she said they were even, I think, probably because of that. And the RV.
Yeah.
And who knows what else. She's happy getting her money for Coyote Pass.
It was enough to, as long as she got a fair shake at the titling in Coyote Pass for that deal to go through, then she was willing to let everything else go. I think it's kind of in that same vein as far as like Christine, when she was just like, just take my
Yeah, I
Coyote
just want to
Pass
be done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just want to get out of here and just I don't want to have to interact with any of these back and forth negotiations or any of this stuff dealing with you guys anymore.
They're trying to screw Meri so hard though, because they didn't want to split the Coyote Pass stuff with her evenly. They didn't want it to be 25% across the board.
No, they wanted it to be based off of the existing name structure on the original titling, which had Meri at 1/3 owner of 1/4 of the land. So she had like less than a 10% stake in Coyote Pass, even though she had significant financial contribution to that purchase.
Well, and somehow they're trying to say that they weren't obligated to pay Meri anything.
I don't understand how that would work unless there was just like you didn't have any accounts like that the funds came out of that was directly related to Meri's accounts, but I don't know how that would even be possible.
I don't know. She's an owner on the property, and you're saying you're going to sell it and not give her anything?
Well, that might have been the ownership. Like, it depends on how that whole thing is written up, because I don't know if it was just based on how Kody threw the names on the plots, where his name, of course, is on all the plots. And so as far as like ownership split and percentages, when you break that all down, it seemed like if Kody and Robyn decide to do something, they already have like majority ownership in that decision because Robyn's name was on 3 of the plots.
So that's what they've been trying to say when they're saying Kody and Janelle were going to form this backdoor deal.
Is that Cody's name is on all the plots and Janelle's name was on 2 of them.
Yeah. So if they were then to be positioned against Meri and Robyn,
they would outvote them in that. But
they
that
own
depends.
A higher percentage.
Like they would have majority interest in doing that. But you have to have that written out in the contract of like how that splits up, majority decision making, like all of that stuff.
Well, that's how they'd be able to take them to court.
Yeah.
It's not like they would automatically be able to list the property and sell it. It's that they would have to go to court and say, we have partners on this land we want to sell who are dissenting. They don't want to sell, but we want to push them to be able to do that. And then the court would have to figure that out.
And then at that point, you'd probably just have to, whatever the sale would be, it would either be distributing out and retitling. So then the people whose parcels or names are on those parcels, they retain ownership of theirs. Like you break it up essentially, which that would be a whole mess because then you would lose these buyers because they're interested in buying the entire plot, like all of the land.
I think they would have lost the buyers just because of how much time that would have taken.
The complexity of that is
like
ridiculous.
Who wants to still buy a piece of property where the owners are embroiled in a legal battle?
It's all tied up in, now you have to wait for whose jurisdiction is what decisions are being made, how that's going to end up. So it just ends up being a whole headache. You're probably not going to want to deal with these people.
But they're telling Meri, we don't want to pay you back for your home in Vegas. And also, you should thank your lucky stars that we gave you any money from the profits of selling Coyote Pass. So that's nice. It's nice of them. They're so generous and fair.
And that's all thanks to Robyn, too, is what we come to find out.
Let's address Robyn's lies.
Which ones do you want to start with?
So first she says that this agreement did not pop up at it the last minute, like Janelle saying. She claims that this was presented at the very beginning and that nobody said anything.
Which doesn't make any sense. Because then why wouldn't you have signed it, Robyn, if this had already been there the whole time?
Right, and everyone else signed the retitling paperwork but you.
Except you.
Then how are you going to claim that this didn't pop up at the last minute?
So then it gets confusing here, though, because then it sounds like she's talking about like the confidentiality agreement being in the sale documentation. And so like that is where the disconnect is, where then Robyn's basically saying she's holding out on signing the retitling paperwork until this new sale agreement is listed out for, it sounded like it was 2 separate things.
They didn't want Meri to be able to talk about the fact that they weren't going to pay her back for the money she put into the SheRah Chateau.
But like the way that Janelle pitched it was sounding like Robyn rewrote the titling agreement.
Right. When she was about to sign it, she presented them with something different.
Yes, that they had already signed and now they have to like go back and reprocess. but I don't think that was it. I think she was saying that she was holding out on signing the retitling and then presented them with a new thing that hadn't been signed by everybody yet. And she was basically saying she's not going to sign the retitling until they agree to these new terms.
Which is extortion.
If we want to get really strict about it.
You guys made that clear last week in the comments, in the chat. Everyone's very opinionated about it.
Admitting to crimes now is what we're doing on the one-on-one here.
Yes, we'd like to see them in court next season. That would have to be season 22.
Oh, Law and Order season.
Let's keep this going. Okay, the silence, I think, tells me you're not interested in watching.
I said a Law and Order season, yeah.
A Law and Order. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard it. It's all right.
All right.
Carly doesn't have an accent, guys. Don't worry about it.
Let's get back to Robyn. Okay, so then why does everybody have a different story than you, Robyn? And her explanation is, well, Janelle got caught doing the backstabbing. So
backdoor dealing.
That's why she's trying to make this up.
Obviously.
And
Meri, because Meri is a monster and
she wanted all the money from the house in
Vegas.
She's
greedy. Yeah, she's greedy, basically.
Even though she's told us that she would have accepted 50% of it.
Right.
But no, that's not true. She wanted all of it.
No. Yeah, she was adamant about 100%. It's all mine. Me. So I don't know if that was like playing back from somewhere in Robyn's head of like her thoughts or something, but it's just all of these accusations that are absolutely confessions.
It's amazing that everyone else always has ill intentions aside from Robyn.
Oh yeah, and then Robyn and Kody, purest intentions ever. Nobody is at fault here. Because what was it? Suki was asking her about, why didn't you warn Meri then? Like that, yes. There was this whole thing.
If you knew the backdoor deal was going down, you didn't agree with it, you thought it was wrong, why didn't you go to Meri and tell her that this was happening?
And Robyn is just so taken aback by this. Like, how dare you? First of all, how dare you?
She did not know how to buy herself enough time to come up with something to address this.
Are you serious? Are you serious right now? Like, that was the deflection here. Yes, I'm seriously asking you if you're saying that you're doing all of this with Meri's best interest at heart, and then you find out that Kody and Janelle are trying to sell the land out from under her so she gets basically nothing, screwed out of her portion that you were promising her this whole time of the 25% of the entire sale. Would that not be valuable information for Meri to know about? And Robyn's like, I would never bring that up to Meri. Ever.
Because she doesn't trust her, because she's watched her talk shit about her on TV now.
Right. She made fun of my junk journal gift. That was a gift, you bastard.
I don't care if you lose out on all this money.
You deserve to lose out on it now. You've earned that place. That's basically where Robyn's mentality goes.
Retribution?
Like, you deserve the worst because you're the worst to me.
Okay, but then at some point in this tell, I don't know if it's next week or it's going to be the final week of it, we're going to learn about Robyn's involvement with the catfishing.
Wait, is this a 3-part or a 4-part?
It's 4 parts.
Oh, she said, because she said, I thought I heard Suki say 4 parts.
Yeah, Suki said it's 4 parts, and it's on the TLC schedule for another couple of weeks.
Okay.
But at some point, we're going to learn about whatever Robyn had to do with the catfishing, and they're going to defend it by saying that is Kody's business and Robyn should have been involved in it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I hope we point this out.
I guarantee they will not.
I hope that Suki's able to connect those dots and be like,
no. Unfortunately, Suki asked a very difficult question of Robyn when she just brought up the whole backdoor deal and whether or not she should have told Meri. So now she's going to have to really back off for the rest of the interview.
Okay.
Or Robyn will leave the couch.
Which I'm okay with at this point. It's just
she had to pretend to cry at one point. She was like, hold on, let me compose myself.
Let me turn these off real quick. Hold on.
She's trying to think of what she's going to say. She needed some extra time here.
She definitely does. I think she does that. The crying is a response for that. She did that at the family commitment celebration ceremony.
She can't get away with throwing her eyes back in her head and then going, I don't recall that.
Yeah, and that doesn't sound familiar.
She's been doing that the last few tell-alls, so now she's got a new strategy.
Yeah, it's working, though, for her. She's buying enough time. They have been keeping a lot of this in, though. They're not really editing around this, even though we are really sick of seeing Robyn fake pretend cry.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen enough of that footage to last several lifetimes at this point. So I think we're good on that. We know that she's making stuff up. We know that she's buying time and that she's dancing around this to some extent. But maybe we don't need to show every single second of it for all of the episodes of the one-on-ones here.
Robyn was a victim as well.
Oh, right.
That's another aspect of this.
Because Kody was horrible.
When she said, I'm not going to backstab everyone, Kody, he told her that he would turn on her.
You're next. I'll do it again.
So she had to then threaten that she would go get an attorney and make sure that he wasn't able to do this.
Which wasn't probably the most credible threat to really go with, I suppose. That's not really something that has teeth.
He was threatening me a little bit.
He was threatening. So I threatened back.
She has a hard time lying, I've noticed, where she'll say things like that a little bit, where it's like she regretted having said he threatened her, so she has to
soften it.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's because she's protecting him or if it's because she's lying, and then she thinks like, oh shit, maybe I went a little too far with that. It's a big allegation.
Yeah. I don't know if she's caring about it that much in the moment.
Okay.
Necessarily. But she does do that. She speaks in those vagaries, though, of like, I'm not going to pin this down. It's a little bit, it's not all the time. She doesn't speak in absolutes very much, but then when she does, then they stand out more. So it's like she's very particular about the things that she is going to say, things that never happened, things that always happen. But usually when she's speaking in those absolutes, that's when she's lying.
You mean like that's not a fair expectation of me? That I should tell Meri that everybody was about to screw her?
Well, no, that's just her avoiding responsibility.
Yeah. A lot of bridges burned with Robyn.
A lot of bridges. That, what was the thing that Kody said to Meri when their relationship first started falling apart during the catfishing? I wouldn't cross a burning bridge to save you, Meri. Something like that. There are a lot of bridges on fire in this family, for sure.
I wonder where he got that from.
Yeah.
But Robyn is the paragon of righteousness in this family. She is our moral compass.
Janelle pulled that one out. I'm going to have to change my Helldivers 2 ship name to Paragon of Righteousness if I'm able to do that. I'll have to double check and see. I'll send you guys a screenshot in the Discord.
I think Robyn caught on to the fact that the interview wasn't going very well, so she had to redirect the conversation. So she's talking about how nervous she was to become the legal wife. And how she had that conversation with Kody about, if I was to leave, this is how I expect you to treat me. And he agreed to it. He thought that was all great. He'd buy a house down the street, all the stuff we've heard about before that he then failed to do.
Well, that was his awakening moment for, this is why I need to apologize to these people, because Robyn helped me see the error of my ways, and that's what I need to fix now.
Isn't that disturbing that Kody believes that Robyn is his moral compass? I don't think that that's something that should be like outside of yourself, that you should rely on another person for.
Right. I think it's because Kody basically is like, his natural instinct was to do all of those dick things. And so then it's like you have somebody who is telling you like, no, you shouldn't be doing all of that stuff. So in this case,
but it's in a Willy Wonka. No, don't stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, because I mean, obviously Robyn benefits from a lot of that too. So yeah, it depends on what she really gets set on, I guess.
I think it's another way for Robyn to manipulate him, to be like, I am your moral compass. Not only his, the entire family's. So that means that Kody thought that whatever Robyn believed was right was what the entire family should follow.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, to attribute Robyn as the moral compass of the Kody Brown family. Always has been, always will be, especially for when there was 25 years of marriage that Robyn was not part of the family. So like, what did you guys do for that? You know, like, I think that's why Meri was so shocked by this of like, well, Robyn's not my moral compass. So just so we make that abundantly clear. And Janelle just kind of rolled her eyes.
Janelle guffawed.
Well, yeah, she had to have a cackle at it here. And so, I mean, between those things alone, it's just like, yeah, there was a long time. There was more time where Robyn was not in the family than we've had time with Robyn in the family so far.
What did you think also about Robyn then saying, I couldn't trust Meri enough to approach her about the backdoor deal, but Meri has no reason to distrust me. I'm not
Right.
Kody. Kody and I are not the same entity, even though she backs up everything that Kody does because she's loyal.
It's the double standard, though, right? Of it's horrible that Meri doesn't trust me. That makes me not trust her, though. And I also, I don't really trust Meri. There's been a lot of other things that have broken that trust. So it's okay for me to not trust Meri, but it's really suspect about her character that she doesn't trust me.
I was getting really excited because I thought we were going to get into the catfishing of it all, but then we didn't. Because Meri has lots of reasons to not trust Robyn.
Yeah.
And that's one of them.
We'll get to more. I mean, there's always more reasons to not trust Robyn, but that's all we had time for in this episode for this one.
We shift gears because Christine and David have popped up for about 30 seconds collectively of the past 2 episodes.
It's all Coyote Pass talk. So none of this pertains to them right now. So we're just getting the little interjections, the little reactions to some of the clips that they're not really a part of, but they're just speaking to it. I think Christine's doing a full summary explanation, though, of this is all really great examples of why this fell apart. It's all these wheeling and dealing, the secret turning against you, turning against them. And it's just the loyalty shifting. It's like watching a season of Survivor out here where it's just you're making and breaking alliances all over the place. Gee, I wonder why we never really trusted each other as a family. I think that's on full display here.
Yeah. She also didn't really give a great testimony as to whether or not Janelle would ever have done the backdoor deal.
In what way?
I thought that she would defend Janelle more. That she would say no, I've known Janelle for, close to 30 years. She would never do something like that.
I think
any deception was totally on Kody and Robyn's part.
To be fair, I think Christine has known Janelle for 30 years, and she knows if they were going to lose those buyers, she might have done it. She might have. So that's why you can't really defend too hard against it of I could see that. I could see that being a real thing, a real possibility here.
I just thought maybe we'd have a little more housewives, backing each other up.
No, this is not Meredith Marks and Lisa Barlow on stage here. No, that's
they're
not happening.
Tag teaming.
No.
I did not really care to talk more about Kody's apology to Christine, but I think we're going to go through and talk about every single wives apology that they got from him. So,
we're
starting at the beginning chronologically.
Well, then we should have started with Janelle's.
Oh yeah, we skipped over that.
Because that didn't.
Because there was no conflict.
They probably asked Janelle about it, and she was like, "Yeah, it was, it happened. It was all right." Actually, I forgot about that. Yeah, didn't really think about it afterwards. But the main point here is that we have all these different takes of who should have been involved in this conversation based on the things that Kody's saying. Because I can understand where people are saying, oh, it's weird that Kody was admitting to, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize that I lied about never loving you because obviously I did love you.
Am I the only person who doesn't think that was weird?
No, because I think that's what Meri was saying too. She was like, I think it would have been weirder if it was just Kody and Christine and that was the conversation. Yeah. If that's what Kody was going to be talking about, David definitely should have been there. And then David saying, well, that's not appropriate. That's rude. That's, all of the issues that he's having with this sort of conversation taking place in front of him now.
David and Christine both felt uncomfortable having Kody say that in front of David.
Did Christine feel that way at the time? Or was that her assessment after David said, hey, that was pretty messed up? And so then Christine had to go, yeah, that was really messed up.
I mean, she looked pretty uncomfortable the entire time that she had to be in the room with Kody.
She looked uncomfortable. But then, I mean, for the outward reaction that we get from her now, why didn't we get that because if somebody's saying something to you and then that's your immediate reaction is, this is really inappropriate. This doesn't feel right. This feels weird. It's disrespectful to my husband here right now. There's those things that's if she felt that strongly about it, I feel like she would have said it. Yeah, I feel like she would have said it. I think they kind of realized too, like Meri did, and David made this realization throughout the apology. This isn't for me. This isn't a conversation that's to my benefit. This is all stuff that Kody wants to get off his chest. This is all things that he wants to say.
Here's the problem I have with it was Christine was very upset when he said that he never loved her. So then he's apologizing to her for it. And she's like, that's weird. Why don't we just leave that in the past?
I'm over it. I was upset too. I spent, all the time being upset and working through it. It's whatever now.
Yeah. It's not like he said, I'm still in love with you. Like, obviously that would be weird.
He did kind of say that when he was talking to Suki. He's like, if I said that I loved her, I love her, that's not breaking bro code. And it's like, well, if you told Christine that you still love her, I think that would be,
yes,
a problem.
Yeah, obviously she's married to somebody else. So that is a problem.
Yeah. But he didn't see that as a problem. So it's like, okay, well, if you're not seeing that as a problem, then I don't really trust your judgment on the rest of the conversation. He's just trying to
defend himself. It was also super odd when he was talking about how he watched Christine and David's wedding and just was smiling the entire time because it was so great to see her.
Well, most of the time.
He didn't say all of it.
Not all of it.
Thank you.
Probably the lap dance. That was a rough go.
Oh.
Did you forget about the lap dance?
No, I did not forget about the lap dance.
Who among us can forget?
Maybe, if anything, he was upset that he didn't get to partake in these things.
Oh, the Brown family mosh pit.
Yeah, but there were things said about him during that episode, so that's where he scowled.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. He also retells the story of the pantsuit that Christine had to buy because he thought that she looked great in it. That was in her book. I'm talking about it because I don't understand how that connected to anything else that was in this segment.
Because they had good times. There was good.
Like when he bought her a pantsuit.
Good and when we were broke and I bought her that burgundy pantsuit, that was it. That was a magical moment for us. That was like peak.
Not the birth of your children.
No, it was right after the birth of children. And she was going to work, so there was going to be an income here. So it was
that was the highlight of their relationship for Kody.
Thank God.
Christine going back to work.
Well, okay, so like if we're going to break this down too, David was pitching about like, Robyn should have been there. Like this was weird that it was just Kody talking to me and Christine. It seemed like he was mostly trying to talk to Christine, but then I was there just kind of out of either like obligation or like David wouldn't have been comfortable if it was just Kody and Christine talking. So then why wasn't it couples? I think that was what he was pitching.
Yeah.
But to be fair, David, I don't think that would improve things if Robyn was going to be there.
Robyn scowling at you from across the table.
I don't think that's going to help.
With her two mismatched eyebrows.
Oh my God. When they showed the clips of Kody saying those things to Christine, Robyn did not look happy down in the corner there when she was seeing the stuff. So if she had that sourpuss face on in the room while Cody's apologizing to Christine, I feel like that wouldn't be helping.
Didn't he have a script that he had to go off of though? The pre-approved things that he could apologize for per Robyn?
He was making up. It was just whatever was coming to mind for Christine because he had 3 courses and a dessert of stuff that he just kept apologizing for.
Another reason that it just wouldn't have upset me that much was I don't really think that he meant it.
Right.
So say whatever you want to say. It's not, it's whatever.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
So like, again, the apology's not for me. This apology is for Kody.
I do think it would have been weird had he brought up the attraction thing because that's something that he confesses to Suki now is I didn't bring this up at the time, but I do also feel bad about saying that I was never attracted to Christine because she did look good in that pantsuit that one time.
I remember the pantsuit. I still think of it fondly every once in a while.
I think that would make someone uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say that David would be like, okay. I did like that David was testing the waters to see, like, that was the invite to Moab to see, are we good? Like, where are we at in this process here as far as like forgiveness, reconciliation? So that was where it was like red flag 2 of you can't really trust what Cody's saying because it doesn't seem like it's coming from a good place of wanting to pursue a co-parenting sort of relationship of any kind.
There's not going to be any action. It's just going to be these words we hear today.
Yep. Yeah, it's just me talking, spouting off, enjoying my meal, and then we're going to go our separate ways. That's pretty much it.
I'm getting really tired of Kody acting like nobody knows him because we've heard Jen doesn't know anything about him. Now he's saying David doesn't know anything about his life or what it is to live polygamy. He's a man, so he's just got all these opinions, but they're not correct.
David is a man, and so he thinks he knows everything. Kody is a man who's saying this. So by his own theory and assessment, Kody is a man who thinks he knows everything, yet knows nothing, right? But he's lived polygamy, so that's the loophole.
He knows more than David.
Because he knows that he doesn't know shit. So that means that he knows that he doesn't know, but he does know David doesn't know.
And he does know everybody else's intentions.
And everybody else doesn't know, but Kody knows that they don't know.
He also made a comment about how David works in construction, so they like think differently.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, because first of all, drywall
meant to be a dig.
It was. He's a laborer of sorts, and it's like, okay, sir,
we're on two different levels.
Yeah, at least David works. Okay, like
tell us what you do, Kody.
You know, if we really had to write it down on paper in a sort of Ethan Plath divorce sort of way of where's the income, that sort of thing.
He needed a Lisa Barlow moment, you know.
Dismissed.
What do you do, Kody?
Oh,
because
right.
Todd says that you just spent all his money. Meri says that you just spent all her money and don't pay her back. True.
Well, he's entitled to 50% of it in his mind.
Robyn didn't go because this was Kody's thing. And she stays out of anything that is Kody's business. That's what we're supposed to
Unless
believe.
it's a backdoor deal.
Or unless he needs a moral compass of his own, then she gets involved.
Yeah, if he's doing the wrong thing, then she gets involved. But the apology, he was doing the right thing, so she did not need to be involved. And also, she didn't want anybody to think that she was apologizing to them. It's too close.
We can't have that perception.
Yeah, no. This is... I can't be associated that closely with Kody apologizing to people where I don't want to be taking any responsibility for anything.
I'm just tired of Robyn acting like she's going to be yelled at if she gets in the same room with other people. You know, she thinks that if she comes face to face with any of the other wives, that there's going to be a problem. Just like she thought if she came face to face with any of the kids, there was going to be a confrontation.
And that's why it's not safe to go interact with
That's
anybody.
why she didn't go. It's not because she let this be Kody's little side project.
Is that why you were an hour late to Coyote Pass for the sale? Or
maybe she didn't want to go. Maybe she had nervous diarrhea.
Yeah, IBSD. It happens.
She'd wait for her Xanax to kick in. David made a good point at the end, which was Kody keeps saying he did these apologies to release these women so that they can move on. And how that just makes it sound like you think that they're your possession.
Yeah, it's the ownership element of it.
Like you can go now that I say you can.
Right. Or like what we were calling out previously.
It almost like takes their autonomy away from them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like it would be discounting their experience, because then that's what he was confused when most of it was being met with, I am over it. I don't really think about this. I don't, I was over it years ago because we've basically been not together for way longer than you've experienced it. Like, it was very sudden for you, but like I've been without our relationship for much longer than that. So I'm kind of over it.
It's almost like that doesn't matter for him. It's just like, well, I've finally gotten to this place, so now be free.
Good for me. Good for you. Okay, good for you, I guess.
Next week, we're going to hear more about the origin story of Meri and Janelle knowing each other, from Janelle being married to Kody's brother.
Nope.
You're over that.
No, you misinformationed.
Janelle being married to Kody. Oh, I'm sorry, to Kody. Janelle being married to Meri's brother.
There you go.
There we go.
Kody is her brother. That's the difference.
That's what's confusing.
That's what always catches you off guard.
Too many brothers.
Yep.
Involved in this story.
It's a family affair.
And then we're going to get to watch everybody react to Meri's apology from Kody.
Which Christine was on the edge of her seat for.
She's getting her popcorn out.
She was like,
ready to go.
This is going to be good.
And then the wives are going to talk about how come they don't trust Robyn. That's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah. Bust out your scrolls.
Yeah. Let's start listing things off here, because I think the list is lengthy.
There's plenty to go through. Yeah.
And then Robyn's going to talk about how she had Meri's back. Even though she worked with Kody to try to leverage not signing the retitling document so that they could screw Meri over, she had her back.
I had her backdoor deal. I think is what she's stopping short on that sentence there.
That's what's coming up next week. But what's going to happen when this season is over, Corey?
Well, that's where you come in, dear listener, because
you look stumped.
We have a poll that's up on the Discord right now. And so that's what we were checking in with everybody. Where do we go from here? Because if you didn't know already, we've recapped every single episode of Sister Wives in existence. We made it all the way through the back catalog, all 20 seasons that have aired now. We have full recaps of.
If you're not seeing them here on the free feed, it's because they're over on Patreon.
You can check that out, patreon.com/survivingpod. You can check in the episode description for the links.
But let us know what you're thinking. We've got 3 options that we're proposing to be the next thing that we do right after this ends.
Because we have Big Love that we could do, the HBO series, which kind of is how the Browns pitched their documentary series to TLC. It's like that, you know? So, hey, how do we watch that fictional piece of entertainment through the lens of Sister Wives? Maybe we sprinkle in a couple of rewatches, rehashes along the way, you know, if there's something that really rings true to the Sister Wives fandom.
And then what's currently winning on the poll right now on Discord is for us to do a book club of Almost Married, which is the Catfish's book.
And so we know we're going to get into some more catfish stuff as part of the tell-all. So that could be very topical, very applicable.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of you guys I didn't know who weren't involved in the lore of the catfish and how Robyn's friend Kendra was involved.
There's a lot of stuff.
It goes so deep.
Yeah, there's like the stuff that happened on camera, and then there's so much stuff behind the scenes and social media at the time that people don't really have all the pieces to. So
we'll connect the dots as we read through the catfish's version of events.
Right. So that could be interesting.
And then the last option is to read Little Bosses Everywhere, which is all about MLMs. And then maybe we do some deep dives into the MLMs that the Browns have been involved with.
Which there's a plethora of those to go through. So I thought that would have a couple more votes, if we're being honest. Yeah. But I think Big Love and Almost Married jumped out in front here. And so it seems to be looking more that direction. But let us know. Let us know what you think.
And follow us on Instagram. We're still a little baby page over there, guys. I want to get over 1,000 followers.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You can be part of that. Yeah. Helping us reach baby's first 1,000 followers.
You can find us by searching Surviving Reality Pod over on Instagram, or Everything's in the Beacons.
Yeah, that's that episode description link. You know, you can find all the links. It's in the links.
And don't miss what we're doing on our other podcast, Surviving Reality, because we're recapping The Traitors, which just started.
Ooh, it's so good, you guys. It's so good. We dropped 3 episodes because there was a bundle on the grand premiere for season 4. And then we have 2 episodes coming out this week, episodes 4 and 5. So you don't want to miss it.
And we're also recapping Suddenly Amish, which if you did not watch the premiere, you need to catch up. I'm loving it. It's amazing. Watching people make poor decisions that they have not researched very well. It's going to be a good season.
We have a very special crossover for this week's episode with none other than Ace and Caitlin of Love Should Be Multiplied, Not Divided / Shit Talk.
The closed quads getting back together.
For the closed community in Suddenly Amish. So yeah, get ready for that.
And if you like what you're hearing, leave us a written review on whatever platform you're listening on.
The algorithms really like Apple Podcast written reviews. So if you like what you're hearing, if you've hung out with us here for the entire season on the feed and you're wanting to help out, that would be a great way to get the podcast in front of other people.
Plus, we need you guys to say nice things about us too, because the mean people, they're out here.
Oh boy.
They're out here on the internet and they write something up whenever they feel it.
Well, the sentiment, we need to overcome the negativity with positivity. I think that's what it ends up being. That's what we're asking you to do,
we're
dear
doing
listener.
In 2026.
We'll provide enough negative energy and then you guys just reinforce us with positive energy, okay?
Thanks for listening. See you next time.